Kakarot begins right where the anime does, introducing us to Goku and his son Gohan just before the Saiyans are set to invade Earth, revealing Goku's true Saiyan heritage and setting off a chain of events that threaten both Earth and the entire universe.
You and this planet are as good as space dust!
It's a story we've seen played out in many Dragon Ball Z games over the years, but unlike recent examples, Kakarot tells its tale by way of a narrative-driven RPG rather than a strictly combat-focused game. It gives life to the world and story of DBZ in a refreshing way, giving us a glimpse into what life is like for Goku and his many companions outside of battles where the fate of the universe lies in the balance. All of Dragon Ball Z's major story arcs are contained here, but among all of these massive, earth-shattering sagas and intense fights are numerous smaller stories and character interactions that many games have simply glossed over. The game's structure is split into parts: free-roaming exploration sequences with a semi-open world, battle scenes against foes big and small, and cutscenes where you watch some of the most dramatic story moments of DBZ play out in gorgeous in-engine renditions. There's a good balance between all of these. It rarely feels like you're spending too long watching a cutscene or that you're thrust into constant battle without being able to take a moment to catch your breath. Sometimes the exploration sequences can seem a little overlong, but a lot of that depends on how much time you want to spend doing side quests and hunting collectibles. It's not essential to spend a lot of time on side pursuits, but it does reap benefits. And while you're flying around the big, vibrant environments, it's easy to be swept up in exploring the DBZ world itself. One striking thing about DBZ Kakarot is how it showcases the large cast of the anime. You begin the game as Goku, but as things progress in the story, you assume control over several other characters like Gohan, Piccolo, Vegeta, Trunks, and others. Familiar faces like Krillin, Yamcha, and Android 18 aid you in combat as assistants, and many of the other supporting DBZ cast members make appearances in side quests and story scenes as well.
Krillin! Gohan! It's great to see you two!
Dragon Ball Z is a series where character relationships and interactions are important, and that really comes through in a lot of the non-combat story bits. You see Piccolo warm up to young Gohan, Chi-Chi's tough mother role, the fighters bonding outside of battle, and much more. Even relatively minor characters like Launch and Puar have side quests that showcase funny interactions, silly scenarios, and even genuinely sad and touching moments. Seeing so many DBZ characters given their moment to shine is great, and it helps you forget that a lot of the side quests are fairly typical RPG, kill these enemies, or collect these item affairs. Of course, it wouldn't be Dragon Ball Z without combat. While the 3D action-driven combat takes some getting used to at first, once you've got a decent handle on the controls, you'll be flying around shooting off Ki Blast and Kamehamehas like a pro. You control a single character with an arsenal of attacks. Basic short and long-range attacks, powerful special skills like Energy Blast, a boost to get up close to the opponent, defensive techniques to guard, dodge, and counter an attacking foe, and even power up into stronger forms. It's a careful balance since many of these abilities cost ki, which requires charging mid-battle but leaves you vulnerable when doing so. When your tension gauge is full, you can send your warrior into a superpowered state where you can chain special attacks into each other, causing some serious devastation. And if you need a little help, you can call on a CPU companion to do their own attack.
Solar flare! No way!
It's an intriguing combat system, and the 3D aerial movement element is unique, but there's less depth to it than it seems on the surface. Most normal enemies and even a few bosses can be patterned to make fighting them much easier. On top of that, enemy variety outside of main story battles tends to be lacking, particularly the annoying cannon fodder foes that will interrupt you during times when you just want to explore. But fighting still has some standout moments, particularly during big boss fights when enemies whip out massive, incredibly damaging energy attacks that force a rapid change in strategy and sometimes even change the entire perspective of combat. Overcoming some of the nastiest things Dragon Ball Z's iconic villains toss at you with skillful dodging and well-timed attacks is immensely satisfying, and it somewhat makes up for all the combat time wasted punching the same robots over and over again. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot's modern, semi-open approach to telling the saga of DBZ, despite some minor issues, is a good one. Zooming around the environments and seeing the world up close is a blast, and it's great being able to interact with so many fun DBZ characters and see stories that usually get passed over for game adaptations. And even though combat can be a bit lacking, when the big battles happen, they feel suitably epic and engaging. If you're looking for an enjoyable way to see the life and times of adult Goku through a new perspective, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot will grant your wish.